Well, how are you out there? Vic Caroleo coming to you, and just want to tell you that Jesus is alive and well, and because he lives, you can face tomorrow. They're not just mere words. I want you to think about that a minute. You can face tomorrow. Some of you have been through so much, and those are the people I want to talk to today. I want to talk to the people that have been through so much and said, my God, I can't takes no more. Like Popeye, I took all that I could takes, but I can't takes no more. You the ones that I want to talk to as I do my drive-by series. You know, I believe that through God, there's a breaking that happens, that God puts the true men and women of God, not mamby-pamby Christians that possibly are saved, and most of them are. I don't want to get into that, but I'm saying you that have a call on your life to be a little bit more than what you thought you were. God put a little more of his seed in you. He had better plans for you than the average Joe. There was something in you that was like a magnet and said, Lord, I need more. Those are the people I want to talk to today. I don't want to talk to you that have been driven by vain imaginations and driven by your own inspirations. I know a man that preaches 20 sermons a day. And I say to myself, my God, 20 sermons a day. I'm not that impressed. I'm saying, my God, try to do one that makes sense, that grabs the people's hearts. But you know what? I don't get aggravated with it because I remember in the beginning I did the same thing. Kept on preaching. And what I found is I did a lot of preaching. And then God told me, now can we get serious, son? I said, yes. Now I want to pour something into you. He said, not only do I want to pour something into you, I want to touch your vocal cords. I want to get your voice to resonate when you speak. He said, I want to tweak your voice so that when people listen, they'll be invited right in to hear what you have to say. I don't want you to speak as a mere man. I believe God did it. I don't believe I deserved it, but I believe I pressed through and said, God, please, if you're going to send me, Lord, you got to anoint me. Now, here's what I want to say. Some of you are in the same deal as me. I call it we're in the process. We're in the process of things happening. But God has to process our mess before he can bring us to the land of milk and honey. My God, I tell you, and come on, can you relate to this? When God called me and said, you're going to be a little bit different, you're going to be a little more obscure. You know, nobody's going to be able to put a name on you because you're going to be like my son Jesus. They're going to try to put you in a box, and you're going to jump out of the box, and they're going to say, wait a minute. We didn't expect that. Some of you are going to be clumsy while God's doing that and make some enemies because they don't realize that God's killing you really literally in your inner beings, your flesh. And sometimes people get in the way of that and they don't realize that you're just in the process. But for you today that understand you're in the process, I want to tell you that Jesus is making a true man and woman of God. Your words when you speak will be words of weight. How many of you go listen to a preacher? You go to this favorite crusade, you listen to the preacher. And I want you to think about this. And at the end of the sermon or whatever the person's doing, do you hear the weight of his words? You know, there are certain preachers that I've heard speak through the years that their messages are still in my mind from yesterday. But I want to say this, it's not a million preachers that have done that. There's a handful that have touched my life, like David Minor, Bishop D'Onofrio. You know, people like this that have big churches, but they're not on the TV. But their messages have become life messages for me. That didn't come easy for them. They were pressed, I'm sure, on all sides. Thought they were dead, but not forsaken or not forgotten by God. Some of you, you've been pressed. You've been pressed upon measure. Here's how you're going to know I'm speaking to you. You're saying, Lord, you told me you wouldn't give me more than I could take, but I'm not so sure that that's true. I want to tell you, He will not give you more than you can take. I promise you, he will not give you more than you can take. Who he's called, he will process you until the day of Jesus Christ. For some of you, you don't even realize it until you hear this message. You're saying, that's what I'm going through. I'm going through the process. Some of you, I could hear it. Oh, Vic, I've been in the process for 22 years. Well, you're not in the process. You may be in the way. Let me say that again. You are not in the process. You may be in the way. The process always has, here's what you'll know, always has inside of your spirit the words like this. You can do this. This is easy. My grace will be upon you. Even when you're going through it, when you're in process, you'll hear the words of Jesus Christ saying, you could do this. That's how you'll know that you're in process. I'm not talking about an audible voice. I'm talking about in your spirit. You will hear, you can do this. And I believe I'm speaking to some can-dos out there. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. Your life was not an accident. You know, Jeremiah says, I believe it's the 20th chapter. He says, I wish my name, I was never born. I wish that my father never brought me up. And he starts decreeing all this stuff against his life, and all of a sudden he says, I don't even want to speak about the name anymore. And then all of a sudden he turns around and says, but wait a minute. He said, it's like fire in my bones. He said, there's a fire that I can't stop talking about his name. I don't care how discouraged you are at times. What you're going through, you know, in spite of it all, you're still talking about Jesus Christ and him alone. My God, that's the grace of God in your life. If you want to believe in a miracle, people say, how do you believe so much in this Jesus Christ? I say, my God, I hear him inside of me. I hear him telling me, it's going to be all right. People have left me. People have walked away. How about you? Have you ever seen friends? But when you get into the heat of battle, I'm not talking about a battle where you got in with words or your own mistakes. I'm talking about a battle where Satan wages warfare against your soul and you feel the warfare. I'm talking about that battle. I've seen people walk away and say, I don't know. I think the man's of the flesh. I think the woman's of the flesh. I think they got their own dreams. Yeah, we got the dreams of Joseph. We got the dreams of Daniel. We got the we got the dreams of the Hebrew boys, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. We have the dreams of John the Apostle. We have the dreams. But my God, as the songwriter says, it don't come easy. It comes through the grace of our God. But there's a warfare in the spirit that I want to speak to you, and I have been speaking to you. You're all right. You're just around the corner. That's faith. You're just around the corner for your greatest day. And remember, with God, all things are possible. What God has started in you, he said he will finish it to the day of completion. He knows the day of completion. Christ Jesus knows what he's doing in you. So stay in that hope. Nobody can hold you back from what God has for you. God bless you. Jesus is with you. I hope this talks to some of you that are in the storms of life, and I hope this becomes an anchor and you say, that's right, he's right. I gotta relax. Take 5. God bless you. Have a great day.